look at the layer of buildup in there. It's built up so much that it is impeding the air from coming in. In this video, we're going to be doing an oil change and servicing the intake on our 1952 Model R diesel. So stay tuned and we'll show you how it's done. So as I mentioned, we're going to be working on an oil change and servicing the air cleaner on our John Deere R here. So I've got 5 gallons of 15W40 heavy-duty diesel oil, and I'm actually going to add some Lucas into this mix too, just to give it a little bit more lubricity. You know, it's an older engine, so you know, help it out a little bit. It does a lot of sitting, so hopefully that'll help coat the cylinder walls and make for easier starts when it's been sitting a while. And we have 2 Wix filters, 51242. So that's all going in. First thing we have to do is take our drain plug out. So that's the plug there, right in the center of the screen. So we're gonna get a bucket under here, get that drain plug popped loose and let her drain out. And then that's where our 2 filters live down there. So I'll go ahead and pop open that drain plug, let it drain out, and we'll show you what we're doing when we're opening up the filters. So stay tuned. All right, well, I'm letting that drain out down there. I've decided to take a look at my intake. So what I'm actually going to do first here is I'm going to pop off these 3 bolts, because I have a hunch, you know, looking around here, it looks as though that intake may be partially clogged here. So I'm going to take that off and just take a really good look in there and see what we got. So I'm going to pop off these 3 bolts and I'll show you what's inside. So hopefully you can see that, but I have the open portion of that intake stack facing the light, and you can barely see any light in there. So let me just shine some in here and I can show you hopefully what's going on. Look at the layer of buildup in there. It's built up so much that it is impeding the air from coming in here. Now let's take a look down inside the stack here. I mean, look at that. There is quite a bit of buildup in there. So we're going to go ahead and get all of that scraped out of there, and this old boy should breathe a lot better than it did. So I'll get to work on that while the rest of the oil is draining out, and I'll show you the results. I don't know if this is going to show up on video, but it's way lighter in there, so that the light is coming all the way around that intake now. We got quite a bit of stuff out of there. Here, I'm going to take you over to the garbage can over here and show you what we all knocked out of just the top part here. So, I mean, this box has the majority of it. I mean, we're an inch deep, and this is about a 10-inch by 10-inch box. So you can see all of the crud that was up in there. So, needless to say, she wasn't breathing very good. We're gonna go ahead and clean out the bottom half, and we'll show you all the crud that came out of there. So, one second. Well, here's the majority of the stuff that came out of the bottom there. There's still, not as much as the top, but there's still quite a bit of stuff in there. But as you can see, we got her pretty well cleaned up here. So what we got to do is go ahead and get the actual bowl itself cleaned up. Then we'll show you how we're filling it up here. So we'll bring you back in a minute. All right, we've got our oil bath bowl all cleaned out there. So what we're going to do is fill this back up with motor oil. Now, I'm just going to use my 1540 that I'm using in the engine. So let's see. Basically, there is a fill line right here. So you just pour oil all the way in here, and in the middle you can see there's like a leveling hole there. So you just fill the oil right up to that fill line, and then you're done. So I'm going to go ahead and fill it up. I'll show you when I'm done, and then we'll install it back on the tractor. All right, there we go. Our fresh oil is in there. So now we're going to go ahead and reinstall it on the tractor. All you got to do is push it back up in the cup there and turn on our tightening clamp there. So I'll go ahead and put that back on, put the stack on, and we will show you when we're all complete. Okay. The intake has been fully serviced. Now she should breathe a heck of a lot better now, so I'm kind of excited to see how well she runs now between this and cleaning up those injectors like you saw in one of my other videos. So now we'll move on and we'll finish up on the oil change. So we'll catch you up in a second. Well, I can't really set the camera up on here to actually show you the process, but basically you unscrew the bolt, or the bolt on the cap there, and unscrew it and pull down. It'll basically fall right out. As will the filter. You lose, I don't know, a quart or so of oil, so make sure you have a good catch pan. And then what you're going to have to do is there is a big O-ring sealing gasket that this butts up against, that's up inside the hole there. So you're going to want to reach up there with a pick in between the outside of the casting and that lip in there and get that out of there. And make sure you get it all out. And the Wix kit does come with, you know, multiple O-rings. You just got to pull the one out that is the right size. So once I get the old one picked out, I'll show you how to line it up with the new one. All right, I was able to get one of them out mostly intact. The other one completely crumbled, but I mean, both of these are like rock hard and just cracked right out. So I have no idea the last time these were changed, or if they're even changed the last time the filter was changed. So the filter comes with two gaskets, a bigger one and a smaller one. So obviously the bigger one looks a little bit too big, so we'll try to line up the smaller one. That one looks about right. So what you want to do then is go back up in there in the filter housing and seat that gasket in there. Make sure it's not twisted. It's a good idea to spray out those mating surfaces in the filter housing with brake clean, just to get all the gunk out of there that may have built up. But then put the gasket up there, and it should wedge itself right in there and stay there for you. And then you can go ahead and grab your filter covers there and clean those up really good, because there's quite a bit of gunk in the bottom of those. So I'll bring those out and I'll clean one up, and I'll show you what one looks like versus the other. So stay tuned. All right, we can see we got the first one clean. You see how there's like a recess in there behind that plate? That is really caked up with goo, so you want to make sure you get that, get behind there and, you know, spray it out as good as you can, get all the gunk out of there. And then something to note here too is that's a copper washer, so you want to really try to make sure that you get all the goo out from behind there, because that's what's going to help seal this bolt to the housing there. So try to get as much of that out of there. A lot of guys replace those if you can. I can usually get them to seal. I have on other tractors before, but in contrast, here's what the gummed up one still looks like. You can see there's, you know, a lot of goo in there. So do a really good job of cleaning that up. I'll get the second one done, and then I'll get those installed, and we'll bring you back. All right, I've got my end caps cleaned up. Everything looks good there. Got my filters. These are not directional, so they can go in either way. I double checked; they are the same size as the ones I pulled out. So I'm going to go ahead and get my gaskets, rubber gaskets, seated up in there, and get the filters back in. So I'll catch you back up when we're done. All right, I've got my filters back in place. So something very important to note is, do not over tighten those bolts as you're putting them in. It's very easy to strip out, and you can snap off the stud in there too. So just go snug. And then when we put the oil in, we're going to look and see if it's leaking. If it's leaking, we'll snug it up just a little bit more until it stops. So whatever you do, do not over tighten. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and throw our oil back in. So we'll show you where that is. So here we are just above the clutch pulley, and this is where the oil fill is. Okay, so there's a cap on there. Usually it's on there pretty tight. Might have to use a pipe wrench to get it off, but sometimes not. All right, so as far as the Lucas goes, it says to use 20% of the system capacity. So if you have, you're supposed to add 2 gallons of stabilizer to 8 gallons of oil. Okay, so in this case, I have 13 quarts that need to go into this motor. So I need to add about 2.6 quarts from here into here, along with the rest of the motor oil. So the Lucas is filled up to about here, so I'm going to add in, you know, basically about half of this container into the oil, and then I will top it off the rest with the motor oil. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and I'll bring you back, and we'll look to see if we have any leaks. All right, we've got our oil in. So what I failed to remember was that the filter compartments will not fill up until the engine is running. So what you do is you open up your check plug here, and you fill it up until oil runs out of here. And then once you start the engine, then you let it run for about 2 minutes, everything will fill into where it's supposed to be. Then you recheck it here and top it off. So I won't be able to finish that process until we actually get the pony motor back on and get the big motor turning over. So until then, we will have to sign off. So my crank did come in finally. I'm going to shoot a video here very soon where we are putting the pony back together. So we'll show you the results on that. So yeah, any questions, comments, concerns about what I showed you, put it down in the comments and we can have a chat about it. So until then, thank you all for watching. Please subscribe and we'll keep this sort of thing going, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you.